Welcome to the training session, Building Successful Transition Plans, Supporting Smooth Classroom Moves in Early Childhood Programs, a guide for childcare administrators. In this training session, we will focus on developing transition plans for children moving to their next classroom. This training is designed for childcare administrators who are responsible for ensuring that transitions are intentional, developmentally appropriate, and family-centered. Smooth transitions support children's emotional security, confidence, and learning continuity. As directors and leaders, your role is to create systems that help teachers collaborate and communicate effectively during these changes. This session will explore planning strategies that consider both chronological age and developmental readiness. You will learn how to individualize transition plans, involve families, and prepare teachers to support children throughout the process. The session will also review documentation methods that align with licensing and accreditation standards. The goal is to make each transition a positive milestone rather than a stressful event. Throughout the training session, take time to reflect on your current practices and identify areas for growth. This training session is made possible by the Kentucky Governor's Office of Early Childhood. By the end of this training session, child care administrators will be able to identify the key components of an effective classroom transition plan that aligns with children's developmental readiness and program policies. Develop individualized transition strategies that include family collaboration, emotional support, and gradual adjustments to new environments. Implement communication systems and documentation tools that ensure smooth coordination among teachers, families, and administrators during transitions. Evaluate the success of transition plans through observation, feedback, and reflective practices to promote continuous program improvement. Transitions refer to any change in a child's daily experience that involves movement from one setting, caregiver, or routine to another. In early childhood education, this often includes moving from one classroom to another as children grow older or develop new skills. Transitions can also occur when new teachers join, when a child moves from part-time to full-time care, or when family circumstances shift. Understanding transitions as emotional and developmental processes helps educators respond with sensitivity. These moments can either strengthen a child's confidence or cause stress if not managed well. Children rely on predictability, relationships, and routines, so a transition that feels rushed or unexpected can disrupt their sense of security. Administrators play a crucial role in creating systems that ensure continuity of care. This means providing time for visits, shared planning, and communication between teachers. A thoughtful transition process builds trust with families and supports smoother adaptation for all involved. Why transition planning matters? It matters because it bridges the gap between comfort and challenge. When children are prepared for change, they are more likely to engage confidently in their new environment. Planned transitions help prevent emotional distress, reduce regression in behaviors, and support ongoing development. From a staff perspective, strong planning ensures that both sending and receiving teachers share information about routines, learning styles, and special needs. Families also gain confidence when they know what to expect and can participate in the transition process. Administrators benefit from fewer disruptions and more consistent quality across classrooms. Transition planning also helps maintain compliance with licensing and accreditation expectations around continuity of care. Beyond compliance, however, it reflects the heart of child-centered leadership. When transitions are intentional, everyone involved, children, families, and staff, experiences less anxiety and more success. administrators, your leadership defines how transitions unfold in your program. You establish the framework for planning, communication, and documentation. One of your key roles is setting clear policies that describe when and how children move to the next classroom. You must ensure that decisions are based on developmental readiness, not just age or enrollment convenience. Administrators also facilitate collaboration between teachers, helping them share insights and strategies with each other about each child. Monitoring the effectiveness of transitions through observation, feedback, and family input ensures that practices remain responsive. You may also coordinate professional development so staff understand how to support children emotionally during these times. Leadership during transitions models empathy, structure, and teamwork for your entire staff. When administrators lead transitions thoughtfully, it sets a tone of respect and stability through the center. Transitions are influenced by multiple interrelated factors. Age is often the starting point, but readiness extends beyond a child's birthday. Developmental milestones in language, social emotional regulation, and independence all affect how well a child adjusts to a new setting. Family circumstances, such as recent changes at home, can also impact readiness. Program structure, like classroom ratios, group sizes, and staff turnover, can either support or hinder smooth transitions. Administrators must weigh these elements carefully when determining timing and approach. It's also important to consider peer relationships. Moving familiar friends together can ease the adjustment process. Cultural differences may influence how families perceive readiness and separation. By taking a holistic view, administrators can develop transition plans that meet each child's unique needs while maintaining fairness and consistency across the program. Readiness indicators vary, but several common signs suggest a child is prepared for transition. These include consistent self-help skills, such as feeding, toileting, or managing simple tasks independently. Social readiness is reflected in cooperative play and comfort with group activities. Cognitive indicators may include an ability to follow multi-step directions and engage with more complex materials. Emotional readiness often shows when children express curiosity about older classrooms or peers. Teachers should document these observations during developmental checklists or portfolio assessments. Administrators can use this data to make informed decisions rather than relying solely on age cutoffs. Communicating these readiness signs to families helps align expectations and builds trust. When readiness is clearly defined, transitions feel supportive rather than abrupt. Sometimes a child may not yet be developmentally ready for the next classroom. In these cases, observation and documentation are essential. Teachers and administrators should meet to review data and identify which specific skills need strengthening. Open communication with families is critical. Families should understand that holding off on a transition is not a setback, but an opportunity for growth. Providing targeted support, such as additional fine motor activities or social skills practice, helps the child prepare at their own pace. Administrators must ensure staff understand how to differentiate between readiness and any compliance pressure. A supportive plan might include shorter visits to the next classroom or gradual increases in responsibility. By prioritizing readiness, administrators uphold the program's quality and demonstrate commitment to each individual child's success. A clear transition process helps maintain consistency across classrooms. The first step is assessing readiness using developmental checklists and teacher observations. Once readiness is confirmed, administrators and teachers should meet with families to discuss timing and expectations. Scheduling transition visits allows children to explore their new environment gradually. Sharing information between the sending and receiving teachers ensures continuity in routines, strategies, and developmental goals. After the move, it's essential to reflect and adjust based on feedback from all involved parties. Documentation at each step helps track progress and identify patterns that can inform future transitions. Administrators can create templates or checklists to guide this process, ensuring that nothing is overlooked. This structured approach reduces anxiety for staff, families, and children. Effective communication is the cornerstone of successful transitions. Families should never be surprised by a classroom change. Instead, they should be active partners in the process. Administrators must ensure that communication is proactive, consistent, and transparent. Regular updates, emails, or newsletters can help keep families informed. Encouraging two-way dialogue invites families to share insights about their child's personality, routines, and needs. Consistent messaging between staff prevents confusion. Using multiple communication channels, verbal, written, and visual, ensures that families of all backgrounds stay informed. Administrators can model communication expectations by holding joint meetings with both classrooms involved in the transition. When families feel heard and supported, their children are more likely to adjust positively. Teachers play the most direct role in helping children transition successfully, but they rely on administrative support to make it happen. Providing a scheduled collaboration time allows sending and receiving teachers to discuss individual children's strengths and challenges. Observing one another's classrooms can give insight into different routines and expectations. Administrators can facilitate ongoing feedback loops through check-ins and reflection meetings. All of these conversations should focus on how each child is responding emotionally and behaviorally to the transition process. Collaboration also fosters professional respect between teachers and reduces any territorial feelings about classroom ownership. When educators feel like a team rather than separate silos, children experience greater consistency. Supporting these partnerships is one of the most powerful things administrators can do during transitions. Families are the child's first and most consistent teachers, making their involvement in transition vital. Hosting orientation sessions or open houses helps families see the new classroom, meet teachers, and ask questions. Administrators can also encourage families to create continuity by sharing photos, comfort items, or familiar routines between home and school. Gathering feedback through surveys after the transition helps identify what worked well and where communication could improve. Family participation reinforces trust and allows staff to better understand each child's temperament and needs. Administrators should ensure that materials about transitions are available in multiple languages when needed. Culturally responsive approaches demonstrate respect and inclusivity. When families feel like collaborators, transitions become shared successes rather than an organizational change. Transitions should always align with each child's developmental level, not just chronological age. Administrators must ensure that expectations in the new classroom are appropriate to the child's skills and confidence. Gradual exposure allows children to adjust at their own pace, perhaps by starting with short visits before full days. Teachers can scaffold new routines by modeling and offering support rather than expecting instant independence. Administrators can guide staff to view transitions as part of the learning process, not a single event. It's also valuable to identify sensory or emotional triggers that may affect how a child copes with change. When children are met where they are developmentally, they feel capable and secure. Developmentally appropriate transitions demonstrate respect for individual growth. This approach minimizes stress for both the child and their caregivers. Ultimately, it promotes smoother classroom adaptation and stronger long-term engagement in learning. Transitions can evoke mixed emotions, excitement, anxiety, and even confusion. Administrators should ensure that staff are prepared to support these emotions sensitively. Teachers should always validate children's feelings by acknowledging them rather than dismissing them. Maintaining familiar elements of a child's daily routine provides continuity and comfort. Allowing comfort items like a blanket or a stuffed toy can make new spaces feel safer. Administrators can train staff to use positive language about the change, helping children associate transitions with growth rather than loss. Creating visual supports like photos of the new classroom or teachers can help children anticipate what is coming. Emotional support during this process fosters resilience and trust. Encouraging calm, predictable environments makes it easier for children to adapt successfully. This emotional stability is the foundation for continued developmental progress. Take a few minutes to review these positive transition phrases and share with teachers to use when infants and toddlers are in the process of transitioning to a new classroom. Take a few minutes to review these positive transition phrases that you can share with teachers to use when preschoolers are in the process of transitioning to a new classroom. Classroom visits are one of the most effective strategies for easing transitions. Administrators should create a structured plan that allows children to visit their new classroom several times before moving permanently. These visits can start short and gradually lengthen. Teachers can pair transitioning children with peer buddies from the new group to provide social comfort. Administrators might encourage teachers to observe children during visits and note reactions or any stress points. Shadowing experiences help both teachers and children learn from each other. By facilitating this exchange, administrators promote a sense of belonging even before the move. Families can also be invited to join the first visit, reinforcing the collaborative spirit of the process. The ultimate goal is to replace fear of the unknown with curiosity and familiarity. Documentation ensures that each child's progress and needs are clearly communicated between classrooms. Administrators should establish standardized transition forms that summarize developmental observations, behavior patterns, and family input. These documents help receiving teachers understand where to begin supporting the child. Developmental summaries prevent gaps in learning experiences and reinforce program consistency. Ongoing progress notes allow administrators to evaluate how effectively the plan worked after the transition. Maintaining these records also supports accountability and compliance with state regulations. Documentation provides a shared language for all professionals involved. It also reassures families that their child's growth is being monitored and valued. Well-kept transition documentation transforms anecdotal understanding into measurable, actionable insight. Administrators must ensure that transition practices respect the cultural and family values of all enrolled children. Not all families interpret readiness or independence the same way. Some cultures prioritize group belonging over individual milestones, while others emphasize early autonomy. Communication should be inclusive and, when possible, in the family's preferred language. Administrators can seek input from families about customs or routines that might help the child adjust. Adapting classroom materials or activities to reflect cultural identity strengthens the sense of belonging. When families feel their culture is understood, they are more open to collaboration. Training staff in cultural competency enhances sensitivity during transitions. By honoring differences, administrators set the tone for an inclusive, equitable program environment. Transitions aren't only challenging for children, they can also cause anxiety for teachers. Administrators should provide targeted professional development that builds teachers' confidence in managing transitions. Workshops on child development, emotional regulation, and communication can be valuable. Offering administrative support means checking in frequently and being available for problem solving. Recognizing that transitions disrupt classroom flow helps validate teachers' experiences. Administrators can highlight successes publicly to boost morale and reinforce effective practices. It might be important to pair experienced teachers with newer ones, which can also foster mentoring during this transition process. When teachers feel supported, they are better equipped to help children and families adjust. Empowered teachers create calmer, more positive environments during transitions. Ultimately, confident educators set the tone for success. The receiving classroom must be ready to welcome new children smoothly. Administrators should ensure that teachers review each child's transition documentation ahead of time. The environment may need adjustments, such as accessible materials, additional comfort zones, or smaller group activities to accommodate new members. Teachers can plan for gradual inclusion by introducing routines step by step. Peers can play a role by modeling expectations and helping newcomers feel included. Administrators can monitor these dynamics through classroom observations and feedback. Having clear routines already established reduces confusion for everyone. Preparation signals respect for the child's developmental process and for the families who trust your program. Every detail, from greeting procedures to cubby labels, contributes to a sense of belonging and predictability. For children receiving early intervention or therapy services, transitions require even greater coordination. Administrators must involve specialists such as speech, occupational, or behavioral therapists in the planning process. Aligning developmental goals across classrooms prevents disruption in support strategies. Communication between teachers and specialists ensures that progress continues seamlessly. Administrators can schedule joint meetings to review goals, adaptations, and classroom supports. Consistency in implementation helps the child feel stable despite environmental changes. Any documentation from specialists should accompany transition forms to inform the new teachers. By integrating all service providers, administrators create a holistic support network. This coordination not only benefits the child, but also strengthens interdisciplinary collaboration within the center. A sample timeline helps visualize what a gradual transition might look like. During the first week, children can visit their new classroom for brief supervised interactions. By week 2, they may stay longer to participate in group activities. In week 3, partial day attendance allows them to experience routines like snack or rest time. By the 4th week, the child is fully integrated but continues receiving emotional support as needed. Administrators should emphasize flexibility. Some children may need more time, or some children may need less time, depending on the temperament and development. This structured approach provides predictability for teachers and families. It also ensures the child isn't overwhelmed by abrupt changes. Gradual transitions are proven to reduce anxiety and improve long-term adjustment. Administrators can adapt this model to fit their program size and classroom ratios. Families may express worry about their child's readiness or about new teachers and routines. Administrators should listen empathetically and validate those feelings. Providing clear, factual information about how transitions are planned can alleviate family anxiety. Offering reassurance through specific examples, such as how teachers will maintain routines, builds trust. Scheduling follow-up conversations after the move shows families that their feedback matters. Administrators can also share success stories or visual documentation to highlight positive adjustment. Transparency and consistency are key in maintaining family confidence. It's helpful to anticipate common concerns and prepare standard talking points for staff. Ultimately, when families feel informed and supported, they become strong allies in ensuring smooth transitions. Transitions for infants and toddlers center around attachment and caregiver relationships. These young children rely heavily on emotional security, so changes must occur gradually. Administrators should emphasize that caregivers spend time visiting together before a handoff occurs. Families should be kept closely involved through daily communication and photo updates. Predictable routines, familiar songs, and comfort objects provide essential continuity of care. Teachers should always collaborate on shared caregiving during the transition phase to prevent distress. Administrators can support this by maintaining consistent staff ratios and ensuring low turnover. Documenting infant and toddler transitions reinforces how critical these relationships are to early development. When attachment needs are respected, young children transition with trust and confidence. Preschoolers benefit from transition plans that build on their growing independence and curiosity. Administrators can encourage teachers to include children in preparations, such as helping pack classroom materials or making see you later cards. These rituals foster closure and anticipation. Promoting small responsibilities in the new classroom, like managing materials or helping peers, reinforces the feelings of competence. Teachers should introduce new routines gradually and explain expectations clearly. Administrators can ensure that the preschool curriculum bridges naturally from the previous classroom to prevent any learning gaps. Sharing stories about moving up or visiting older friends can generate excitement. When transitions are framed as milestones of growth, preschoolers approach them with enthusiasm and pride. The transition from pre-K to kindergarten marks one of the most significant changes in early education. Administrators should focus on ensuring that children have developed the social-emotional, self-regulation, and academic skills needed for school success. Partnering with local elementary schools creates alignment and smooths continuity. Families should receive information about what to expect from kindergarten routines and expectations. Celebrating the completion of pre-K helps children view the transition as an achievement. Administrators can organize visits to kindergarten classrooms or host joint events with local schools. Maintaining communication with receiving teachers supports mutual understanding. When done thoughtfully, this transition prepares children for lifelong learning success. Transition plans should be continuously evaluated for effectiveness. Administrators can observe children's behavior after moving, looking for signs of comfort, engagement, and development of positive relationships. Teachers should share observations during staff meetings to discuss patterns or challenges. Family feedback is equally important in assessing satisfaction and identifying gaps. Surveys or short interviews can help gather these insights systematically. If recurring issues do arise, administrators must revise transition processes accordingly. Success evaluation transforms transition planning from routine practice into reflective quality improvement. Over time, this data informs policy decisions and professional development priorities. Monitoring outcomes ensures that transitions remain responsive to the evolving needs of children and families. Providing standardized documentation tools helps ensure consistency across all classrooms. A transition checklist guides teachers through each step of the process. Family communication forms record key conversations and agreements about timing and strategies. Staff reflection logs encourage teachers to document what is working well and what could be improved. Administrators can review these materials during supervision meetings to maintain accountability. Digital record-keeping systems make tracking transitions more efficient and accessible. All templates should be clear, concise, and user-friendly. Regular use of documentation tools turns transition planning into a structured, repeatable process. Ultimately, well-designed forms help programs maintain high-quality standards with minimal confusion. A written transition policy formalizes expectations and ensures fairness across your program. Administrators must define clear criteria for readiness, timelines, and communication protocols. All policies should align with state licensing and any accreditation requirements to demonstrate compliance. Once developed, they should be reviewed with staff and families to promote transparency. Policies should also include guidance on documentation and all follow-up practices. As administrators, you should always revisit these policies to ensure they remain relevant as your program evolves and changes. Strong policy frameworks prevent inconsistencies and confusion. They also reflect your center's commitment to organized, child-centered leadership. Transition planning should evolve alongside your program's broader quality improvement goals. Administrators can use transition data to identify areas of strength and opportunities for growth. Encouraging staff to share new ideas or creative strategies fosters innovation. Leadership involves not only setting expectations, but also celebrating successes. Recognizing teachers who handle transitions effectively reinforces best practices. Administrators should reflect regularly on how their leadership impacts emotional climate and program stability. Continuous improvement requires openness to feedback from all stakeholders, children, families, and staff alike. When transitions are part of the culture of excellence, your entire program benefits. Leadership through reflection builds resilience and long-term program quality. Transitions often bring predictable challenges that administrators must anticipate. Uneven readiness levels among children can be addressed by creating flexible timelines and individualized supports. Staff communication gaps can be resolved through structured meetings and documentation systems. Family resistance may stem from fear of change. Transparent communication and reassurance helps build trust. Administrators can also offer open-door policies to encourage questions and dialogue. Addressing challenges proactively prevents frustration and misunderstanding. Each challenge offers an opportunity to strengthen systems and relationships. Viewing obstacles as part of the process promotes a culture of problem solving and continuous growth. Every transition is an opportunity to grow when guided with care, connection, and purpose. Take a moment to think about this question. How will you strengthen transition planning in your program this year? It's important to remember that transitions are not simply administrative milestones. They are developmental experiences that shape how children view learning, relationships, and change. Administrators hold the responsibility and privilege of ensuring those experiences are positive and growth-oriented. Reflect on how your center currently manages transitions and where improvements can be made. Consider how you can better involve families, support teachers, and individualize plans for children. Use the strategies from this training session to review your policies, documentation tools, and communication systems. Smooth transitions are the result of intentional planning, collaboration, and empathy. When children move confidently to their next stage, they carry with them the security and curiosity that define lifelong learners. Thank you for your commitment to quality care and leadership in early childhood education.